I never thought I'd be the type to write out my personal drama on the internet, but here I am. My name's Lena, 26F, and I have a younger sister, Emma, 24F. To outsiders, Emma is everything people admire: funny, beautiful, magnetic. She walks into a room, and it's like she drags all the attention with her. Growing up, I was the quiet, responsible one, while Emma was the star of the family. I didn't mind that when we were kids, but as soon as I started dating, it became a nightmare. The first time it happened, I was 16. My first boyfriend, Tyler, was a sweet, awkward guy who made me feel special. After a month of dating, I brought him to a family barbecue. Emma, then 14, spent the entire evening glued to his side, laughing, flipping her hair, and touching his arm like they were old friends. I felt invisible. 2 weeks later, Tyler broke up with me with the classic, "You're great, but we're better off as friends." A month later, Emma went to prom with him. When I told my parents I was hot, they brushed it off. "Oh, Lena, you're being dramatic. You know how teenage relationships are." I convinced myself it was just a one-off, but the same thing kept happening. During my first year at college, I met Matt in an English lit class. He was shy, sweet, and we dated for 6 months before I introduced him to my family at Thanksgiving. Emma was home from her cheerleading camp and spent the whole night talking to him. Within weeks, Matt became distant. By Christmas, we had broken up. A few weeks later, Emma posted pictures of them together on Instagram with the caption, "Unexpected connections are the best ones." I confronted her, and she gave me her classic innocent act. "Oh my God, Lena, we didn't mean for this to happen. We just clicked. You can't help who you fall for, right?" My parents told me I was being jealous. "Maybe Matt just wasn't the right guy for you. Don't hold this against your sister. Love happens." And like that, Emma was off the hook again. This kept happening. Jacob, Nate, Chris, every single boyfriend I brought home ended up with Emma. Sometimes it took weeks, sometimes months, but it always ended the same. After the 4th or 5th time, I stopped bringing guys home entirely. I waited months before even telling Emma I was dating anyone. I tried to believe maybe I was overreacting, that these guys just weren't meant for me. But deep down, I knew what Emma was doing. She thrived on attention, on winning. It wasn't even about the guys. It was about taking something that was mine. 2 years ago, I met Daniel, 28M. We met through a mutual friend at a networking event, and from the start, he was different. He was kind, grounded, and genuinely interested in me. For the first time, I felt like I could trust someone. After a year together, we were serious enough that my family wanted to meet him. Against my better judgment, I agreed. From the moment we walked into my mom's house, I felt that old familiar dread. Emma was there, all smiles and compliments. "Wow, Lena, you didn't tell me your boyfriend was this cute." "Daniel, come sit next to me. Tell me all about yourself." She laughed at every joke, brushed his arm accidentally, and gave him that look I'd seen 100 times before, the look that said, "I'm going to take this from you." I felt my stomach twist into knots, waiting for history to repeat itself. But Daniel surprised me. He politely smiled, kept his distance, and later that night, squeezed my hand. "Are you okay? You seem tense," he asked. For the first time, a guy actually noticed. Still, the weeks that followed were filled with deja vu. Emma started texting Daniel, "Funny memes. Forgot to ask you something about that book you mentioned. And even, we should grab coffee sometime, just us." Daniel showed me every message. I confronted Emma, and she rolled her eyes. "You're so paranoid, Lena. I'm just being friendly. Not everyone's trying to steal your man." But I knew better. Daniel wasn't oblivious, either. "She's definitely crossing boundaries," he said one night. "But I'm not going anywhere. I'm with you." For the first time in years, I felt like maybe things could be different. Then came the family barbecue, the one that changed everything. The family barbecue that summer was supposed to be a relaxed, easy day. It had been a while since everyone was together, and my mom had gone all out: grilled ribs, potato salad, and her signature apple pie. Daniel and I showed up hand in hand, and I tried to push aside the gnawing anxiety that always came with Emma being in the same room as my boyfriend. Emma arrived fashionably late, of course, breezing in with a sundress that looked more suited for a night out than an afternoon with family. She locked eyes on Daniel almost immediately. "Daniel, wow, you look amazing. Have you been working out? You have to tell me your routine," she gushed, sliding into the seat next to him even though there were plenty of empty chairs. I watched, tight-lipped, as she laughed at everything he said, tossing her head back like they were sharing private jokes. Daniel caught my eye and gave me a subtle shake of his head, his silent way of saying, "I'm not buying it." That helped, but the knot in my stomach wouldn't go away. Later, while Daniel was getting drinks, Emma sidled up to me. "You're lucky, Lena," she said with a smirk. "Here's a real catch. You know, if you don't keep things interesting, someone else might." I froze. She had never been so brazen before. "Emma, here's my boyfriend." "Back off," I said quietly, trying not to cause a scene. She just shrugged, her lips twitching in amusement. "Relax, sis. I'm just teasing. Don't be so sensitive." But I knew she wasn't joking. That evening, Daniel told me Emma had slipped him her number in case he ever needed someone to talk to. He showed me the text she sent right after. "Great seeing you today, Daniel. Let's grab that coffee sometime. Just us." I was livid. I called Emma that night, and for the first time, I didn't hold back. "Stop texting my boyfriend. This is not funny anymore." Her response? Laughter. "Oh my God, Lena, you're so insecure. Maybe you should ask yourself why you don't trust him." "I'm just being friendly." I told Daniel everything, and he pulled me into a hug. "I'm not going anywhere, Lena, but I think it's time we set some boundaries with your sister." The next weekend, Daniel and I met up with my parents for brunch to talk about Emma's behavior. I explained everything, her history of going after my boyfriends, the texts, the blatant flirting. My mom sighed. "Lena, you've always been jealous of Emma. She's just outgoing. Don't make this a bigger deal than it is." My dad nodded in agreement. "Emma wouldn't do something like that intentionally. Maybe you're overreacting." I felt my chest tighten. They still didn't believe me. After all these years, they still saw Emma as perfect and me as the jealous sister. But Daniel wasn't having it. "With all due respect," he said firmly, "Emma has crossed several boundaries. Lena's not imagining this, and it's unfair to dismiss her concerns." My mom looked taken aback, and for the first time, there was silence at the table. After that, things got tense. Emma must have sensed that Daniel wasn't falling for her usual tricks, because she started doubling down, liking all his social media posts, showing up at places she knew he'd be, and once even accidentally running into him at his gym. Daniel told me everything, but I could feel the tension building. The breaking point came at my dad's birthday dinner a month later. Emma showed up in a low-cut, figure-hugging dress and made a beeline for Daniel. She sat beside him, leaning in so close that my dad joked, "Emma, people are going to think you two are the couple." Emma laughed, tossing her hair. "Oh, Dad, don't be silly. Daniel and I just have great chemistry, right?" Daniel immediately shifted in his seat and wrapped his arm around me. "Actually, the only chemistry I care about is with Lena," he said, his tone cool. The table went quiet. Emma's smile faltered, but only for a moment. She quickly recovered with a fake laugh, but I saw the flicker of anger in her eyes. That night, I made a decision. I wasn't going to let Emma keep doing this. For the first time, I had someone who truly saw me, and I wasn't going to let her ruin it. After my dad's birthday dinner, things escalated quickly. Emma wasn't used to losing, and Daniel making it clear that his chemistry was with me had clearly bruised her ego. Over the next few weeks, her behavior became more calculated. She started posting cryptic Instagram stories, selfies with captions like "some connections are undeniable" and photos of her at places Daniel liked to go. She even started tagging herself at the coffee shop Daniel and I frequented, as if to say, "See, I can still be close." Then came the sabotage. One Saturday morning, I woke up to a flurry of texts from friends asking if Daniel and I were okay. Confused, I checked social media. There, on Emma's story, was a photo of Daniel laughing at the gym, along with the caption, "Thanks for the great workout, buddy. Always fun catching up." Daniel was furious. I'd barely said 2 words to her, he told me, showing me his gym log. She cornered me by the weights, asked for a spot, and must have snapped that photo when I wasn't looking. I left right after. I confronted Emma immediately. "Why are you posting photos of my boyfriend like that?" She scoffed. "Relax, Lena. It's just a gym selfie. Stop being so insecure. If you trusted him, this wouldn't bother you." I felt the familiar frustration boiling up. Emma always twisted things until I was the one who looked crazy. But Daniel wouldn't let her this time. He grabbed my phone, hit speaker, and said, "Emma, enough. Stop contacting me. Stop showing up where I am. I'm with Lena, and this has to stop." For the first time, Emma's voice faltered. "Wow, Daniel, I didn't realize you were so easily manipulated. Lena's making you think I'm the bad guy? I was just being friendly." But she didn't back down. A few days later, I got a call from my mom. "Lena, why are you turning Daniel against your sister? Emma's in tears. She says you're accusing her of trying to steal your boyfriend again. Can't you two just get along?" I felt like I was losing my mind. No matter what Emma did, my parents always believed her. Then came the breaking point. Daniel had planned a surprise date night for us, dinner reservations at my favorite rooftop restaurant. We were halfway through dessert when he got a text from an unknown number. He showed me his phone. "Hey Daniel, it's Emma. I really need to talk to you about something important. Please don't tell Lena. Can we meet?" I felt my stomach drop. "She's not going to stop, is she?" I whispered. Daniel shook his head. "No, and I think it's time we handle this once and for all." The next day, I arranged a family meeting. My parents, Daniel, Emma, and I all gathered in the living room. I came armed with screenshots, texts, Instagram stories, everything. I laid it all out. Emma's relentless pursuit, the manipulative posts, the texts begging Daniel to meet her in secret. My parents tried to interject, but Daniel cut them off. "This isn't jealousy, and Lena isn't making this up. Emma has been disrespecting our relationship from day one, and it stops now." Emma's mask finally cracked. She laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Fine. You want the truth? Daniel was never really into you, Lena. He's just too polite to admit it. He and I have way more chemistry, and everyone sees it." My mom gasped. My dad looked stunned. Daniel stood, his jaw tight. "Emma, that's enough. I love Lena. Whatever you think is between us doesn't exist. And if you can't respect that, you're not welcome in our lives." For the first time in my life, someone chose me over Emma, out loud and in front of my family. Emma's face twisted in anger, and she stormed out, slamming the door behind her. My parents sat in stunned silence. "Maybe we should have listened to you sooner," my dad said quietly. "That was 3 weeks ago. Emma hasn't contacted me since, though she's been posting vague quotes about betrayal and losing people who never deserved you on social media. My parents are still processing everything, but for once, they're not blindly defending her. Daniel and I have never been stronger, but I can't shake the feeling that this isn't over, that Emma's not done trying to make me miserable." In the weeks following the confrontation, the silence from Emma was both a relief and a source of unease. After years of living in her shadow, I had finally stood up for myself, and for the first time, people had believed me. Daniel had been unwavering, my parents were finally starting to see the truth, and yet a part of me kept waiting for the other shoe to drop. Emma hadn't changed her patterns, not really. She just shifted them online. She filled her Instagram with passive-aggressive quotes. "Some people will hate you for shining too bright, and real chemistry can't be denied." Friends sent me screenshots, but I stopped looking. I muted her on all platforms and focused on my own life. For the first time in years, I had space to breathe. Family fallout. A week after the confrontation, my mom called, her voice shaky. "Lena, we talked to Emma. She admitted that maybe she overstepped. She says she was just lonely and liked the attention. She didn't mean to hurt you." I almost laughed. Years of betrayal boiled down to liking attention. Mom, this wasn't about being lonely. Emma has been sabotaging my relationships for a decade, and you've let her. I can't keep pretending everything's fine. There was a long pause. We didn't want to believe she could do that, Mom said quietly. But we see it now. We should have listened to you sooner. My dad later pulled me aside. Emma's always felt like she had to compete with you, he confessed. We never realized how much she resented you. She thought you were the smart one, the one who'd succeed no matter what. So she took what she could, attention, boyfriends, because she thought that was all she had. For the first time, it clicked. Emma hadn't been taking my boyfriends because she wanted them. She wanted what I had because she didn't believe she could get it on her own. I decided I needed boundaries, real ones. I told my parents I wasn't cutting them off, but until Emma could genuinely apologize and respect my relationship, I didn't want her in my life. To my surprise, they agreed. Daniel was my rock through all of it. I didn't fall in love with you to let someone else's insecurities dictate our lives, he told me. You deserve to be happy, Lena. For the first time, I believed him. Months passed, and the distance from Emma felt like shedding a weight I didn't realize I was carrying. Daniel and I moved in together, and the constant anxiety I used to feel around my relationship slowly faded. Emma made a few half-hearted attempts to reach out, texts about missing her sister and wanting to talk. I didn't reply. I wasn't ready, and maybe I never would be. I learned to prioritize myself, to build a life that wasn't defined by Emma's shadow. I reconnected with old friends who had drifted away during the drama, took up hobbies I'd abandoned, and even started therapy to work through years of being gaslit into doubting my own feelings. 6 months after the confrontation, a mutual friend let it slip that Emma had been bragging to people about almost stealing Daniel. According to her, the thrill wasn't in being with the guys, it was in proving she could take something I loved. Hearing that hurt, but it also brought clarity. Emma's problem wasn't me, or Daniel, or any of the guys she'd taken. It was the emptiness she felt inside, one that no amount of validation could fill. Daniel and I are engaged now. When he proposed, I didn't feel fear that Emma would somehow ruin it. For the first time, I felt safe in my own relationship. I know Emma might try to insert herself back into my life someday, but I've learned the power of saying no. My happiness doesn't depend on her approval, or anyone else's. To anyone who's ever lived in a sibling's shadow, constantly being undermined or compared, you're allowed to set boundaries. You're allowed to protect your peace. For me, the hardest lesson was realizing that Emma's actions were never about the men, they were about control. And now that control is gone. I finally have my life back.